So the darkness experience is a kind of journey, it's an adventure, or primarily it's a kind of sanctuary. It's a haven for people who are feeling stressed out and overwhelmed, like there are far too many plates that they're juggling, trying to keep up in the air. It's also a place where people who wish to elevate their meditation practice or deepen their spirituality or come into live more authentically, it's a great place for them to go to meet those deep yearnings, to fulfill that calling, because for a lot of people it's a calling. So it's a place which is rare in this world. It's where by coming somebody is claiming a time for themselves to really focus on what's essential rather than be distracted by what is inessential. And there are so many, modern life is so full of demands and pressures, and everyone feels like they've got goals and expectations and deadlines to meet. And of course, we have to put bread and butter on the table and pay the rent and relate. They're truly important things. But what I've noticed in my work is that many people feel like they're living a bit on the surface of things. And so when you live on the surface of things for a long time, inside you're left with a hollow feeling, a feeling of something's missing. So I've dedicated myself to helping people who feel that there must be something more to find out what that more is for them. And typically it's not anything on the outside. It's more of a quality of a way of being. It's a quality of attention, what we're putting our attention on and how we're doing that. And it's a way of moving from a state in which time is experienced as a pressure and there's never enough of it, to enter into a space which is timeless. There is no time. And then there's the way in which there's the specifics of how that is created and how people are guided very gently and encouraged to relax into that space. Most people have quite negative connotations, associations about darkness for various reasons. Our Christian heritage is one, or just the notions even within the field of psychology, where darkness is associated with shadow, or darkness is associated with evil, or things that could be scary, or things that could be out to harm us. So we do whatever we can to avoid entering into it. Our whole civilization in the last 100 years has undergone a tremendous transition with the advent of electricity, so that we're now dazzled by brilliance, the brilliance of light, electric light. So that's an amazing tool and invention, and it's one that really helps to keep the darkness at bay, at a distance, until we just flop into bed exhausted. And even then, people have all kinds of lights around them. What I want to help bring into the world is a total reframe of what darkness is. And so I'm creating a space where darkness can be experienced as a place that's really nourishing, as a vast velvety womb that is full of creative possibility, that has its own kind, it's like a living space that has its own kind of intelligence. That, I say to people, the thing that's actually doing the work is absolutely not me. It's not really even the stuff that we do. The meditations, the communication processes, all the components, the exercises that kind of fill in the time of a darkness experience. That's not the magic. It's not even the sense of group energy that very naturally begins to evolve over the course of the time together. All of those things are good and are helpful, but the real magic is the darkness itself. It is working on you the whole time that you're in it, 24/7, so that the longer you're in, the deeper the experience and the deeper the effect. And that's happening on numerous levels simultaneously. It's happening to the body, the mind, the heart, the soul. It's happening to our biochemistry and our hormonal systems and the way that we're perceiving, all at the same time. And for each one of those things, I could go in and describe something of what is happening. So the darkness itself, I consider to have a kind of transformative power. And I love that. And I trust it completely. And I feel that I can really help hold somebody who may very well have some of those conditioned fears and nervousness about going into that space. I can guide them so that they can come into it. The fears very quickly fall away and are replaced with a sense of, oh, it's so good in here. There's nothing to do. And then what happens over time is that you begin to experience as a living reality that your inner world, the world that is there when you close your eyes and you are immediately entering into an inner space with all the dimensions of consciousness and the mind and imagination and fantasy and thought. All of that is vast. It's equally as big and multidimensional and exciting as this world, the external universe, the realm of light, which we are so often giving all our attention to, because let's face it, it is a fascinating realm to be in a place of light and colour and form and texture. But equally, and that whole realm is like one in which we're orientated towards more experience, more interaction. Let's go to a new place. Let's meet new people. Let's do new things on the outside. And we hope that we can find fulfillment on the outside. And it never works. And maybe, as all of the spiritual teachers throughout the ages have said, maybe we need to look within. So, like on the in the temple at Delphi, the inscription was, "Know thyself." So by turning our attention inside, we enter a space in which we can become content with less. That's really radical in this world, to be content with less. To find more fulfillment with less stimulation. So then what is that? Well, what is that, to be content with less? It's like, instead of experiencing a mind that's never stops, that's agitated, that has chatter and judgments and conversations and songs that you heard on the radio and TV things and media going on and on and on endlessly. What can begin to happen is that quietens and the mind becomes more spacious, so that we can begin to enter into what I call the gap. So that there is space between thoughts. And that's not scary. It's hugely relieving to be able to enter into that space. And many, many people who come on the Darkness Experience say, wow, I never entered into meditation so deeply. Or, wow, I didn't realize that actually it is possible to just enter into the space between thoughts. And it looks like there's nothing there. So we tend not to be very interested in no thing. But actually, maybe there's something in no thing, in nothing, in that spaciousness, in the place of no light. So that's happening in the realm of the mind. And in the realm of the body, instead of constantly doing, just endless activity, that situation of being without sight voluntarily for a time, you can't do so much. So we create the situation where people can just rest and don't have to do so much. And that enables the body to relax deeply, profoundly. And so what happens when the body is relaxing is the opposite of tension. So tension is making everything tight and contracted. That doesn't feel good. And relaxation is when we open and soften, and then everything starts to feel like there's space, and that feels really good.